Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Going into this episode, it's like the needle moved a little bit forward with the storyline with Victor and Spencer and Trina. And then other parts just seem like eh. Okay, so there's a scene with Valentine and he's worried about Anna and he sees Porsche and he's like, listen, we've been waiting here for a while. What's going on with Anna? And Portia's like, I'm not really too sure. I'm not really the intended position or whatever. You gotta sit there and wait for X, Y, and Z. Now, here's the thing. Valentine wasn't being rude. He wasn't being loud. He wasn't being obnoxious. He simply wanted to get to the point. He was like, no, that's not good enough. We've been waiting here for a while. Can you give us something? And I think any person in that position, actually, tell you, any person in that position would have probably been more louder, more ruder, and just would have been an obnoxious jackass. So when Curtis walked in, he was all like, "Oh, well, you're not gonna sit there and talk to my wife like that." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Says when? What? Yo, bro, you literally been treating her like hot garbage for a hot minute. Okay. Now you want to sit there and storm all in, act like a caveman, be like, "Oh, you're not going to be sitting there talking to my wife like that." It was nowhere. I don't even think it was bad at all. He just simply was asking a question. He didn't raise his voice or anything like that. So the fact that he had to sit there and apologize afterwards was just dumb. And Portia was like, "Yeah, okay, it's fine." It was like, "No, it's not fine. He really shouldn't actually have to apologize for anything." He asked a question. You seem like you was being kind of dismissive. I mean, yes, I get it. You're not the attendant position or whatever. But like, hey, you know what? Let me sit there and try to get some answers for you. That's it. Not, oh well, I'm not really too sure. You got to sit there and ask somebody else. That was more the attitude that I got from her. So that scene was, I don't want to say that it was entirely stupid, but there was just things that was not as bad as like Curtis overreacting. And Portia was like, no, it's okay. Of course it's okay. He didn't do anything wrong. Now here's the thing with this whole Anna situation. It all comes down to suspense or lack of suspense. If this was the early 90s, 2000s, for me personally, before I had the internet, I would have been on pins and needles being like, oh man, what's going on? What may happen? Is she gonna sit there and live? Is she gonna wake up? Yada yada yada. But we live in an era where it's like if I want to sit there and literally find out maybe a month and a half advance or 2 months or whatever, I just go on the internet and I try to find spoilers. Hell, I don't even have to try to find spoilers. A lot of times the spoilers just come to me. I mean, my point is that even without the spoilers, when you've been watching soap operas for a very long time, you can sit there and look at the situation and know it is what it is. The actress that's been playing on the show, she's been on the show for a very long time. She's been doing soap operas for a very long time. So even when she got shot, we all knew she wasn't going to get killed off. There was no suspense as to what was going to wind up happening. Hell, anytime a character gets shot, go away for a little bit, we're sitting there thinking this person's on vacation. They're on much needed rest. We're not sitting there being like, oh my God, what could possibly happen? Because we already know. So, also just being somebody who watches soap operas for a very long time, suspense, it doesn't really come as much as it used to when you first started watching it. So he does go into the room. He spends some time with Anna. Deanna was in there. And tomorrow she wakes up. So there you go. And I'm not even really spoiling anything because it's literally in the previews after the next episode. Which brings me to my other little nugget, I guess. There was a time period, about a good year or so, where General Hospital did not have previews towards next episode. And I'm not gonna, it was the weirdest thing. Because I remember just one day it was like, okay, it was over. It was like, okay, so where's the previews at? And then every day after that, it was just like there was no previews. Now, granted, if I had the internet, um, I might have knew why they just stopped doing previews, but I was just like, what the hell? But something like this, where they literally show Valentine talking about, oh, I'm glad you're with us again. It's like, even if you somehow could just ignore that part that know that she's going to be okay, they literally just told you that. Um, this scene with Willow and Brooklyn and Sasha might have been literally the worst part of this episode. Because it's not so much that it's bad. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of people that don't like Willow is probably bad, but all it is her talking about how she wants to get married sooner, but she also feels like by doing that, she's giving up. Liesel being gone, and she's still kind of hoping out hope, and also holding out hope as opposed to being real. And it's also kind of sad too. So there's just no happy way of actually looking at this scene in any sort of positivity whatsoever. Michael's there, and then he leaves, and then he comes back. And that was pretty much about the extent of that actor's work that day. Now, again, I'm pretty sure that he does other scenes or whatever when he needs to come in and do it. But just in general, it's like, dude came in, talked for a little bit, left, it was girls' time, and then he came back. Yeah. Um, Carly was there to sit there and break the bad news to Josh. As far as Willow, Dante comes over there, and now towards the end of the conversation, they're worried about Trina because most likely Trina, is going to be with Spencer, helping him out or whatever. So now they're just like, oh man, this is crazy. On top of that, we got Willow. That situation is just a mess. Constantly asking Dante, what do you thought? What's going on? It's like he just said to him, no more. When he knows more, you will know more. That's how that works. Um, Gladys just being the usual dirtbag that she is, going up in Jordan's face, hey, I'm here to give my testimony, whatever. And Jordan's like, yo, listen, we kind of busy with all this stuff. Like, we'll get to you when we get to you. You should come back later on. But of course, Gladys, being the annoying POS that she is, just doesn't want to take no for an answer. And so she waits and she badgers them, and eventually she gets some desk cops to sit there and take her statement. But, Dante's in there for a little bit, and eventually Sam is there. So Dante leaves. And Sam starts giving him kind of a hard time, like, oh, well, I've said this stuff many a times before where I've said that I was innocent, and a lot of times I lied, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, Sam, are you going to stop busting his balls, and you're going to actually help him, like, listen to him, or are you just going to do this little whatever it is that you're doing for like a good 2 minutes, and we're just going to get to the point? So, long story short, Cody, like a lot of people in the live stream said, Cody can't really sit there and give up information. Because, like he said, he likes his legs, he likes his kneecaps. And so, all he pretty much tells Sam is that he was going to tell um, Sasha about Gladys, and that's pretty much, how he wound up getting set up. But he doesn't sit there and give her too much detail, so it's like, all he says is that, yo, listen, help me post bail, and, I'm good. And of course, Sam is like, why should I sit there and trust you? An obvious answer is, well, Dante trusts him, so that's enough. But if they actually show some scenes with her being a PI, that would actually be amazing. I would actually smile. I mean, when I do my live streams, I always sit there and say, is this person need this? That person need this? This person need it? And I always go back to Sam. Sam came in, she had an amazing story. A lot of people will sit there and say, well, without Jason, Sam isn't interested. That's not the problem. One person leaving doesn't make another person broken. What makes that person broken is when the writers stop actually caring to actually give her good storylines. The last storyline that they actually gave her that she was doing stuff with was with the whole Shiloh thing. That was it. That was literally it. So her character, her storyline doesn't suck because Jason's not there. Her storyline sucks because they're not giving her anything to do. And all she pretty much is just, Dante's girlfriend. And that's what she's relegated to. So now they're actually giving her some stuff, and she's going to be looking into this whole thing with Cody to try to, vindicate him and everything, which, again, I've said this before, but it's just so stupid that he got arrested in the first place. Because, yeah, the necklace or the whatever, the bracelet was in Cody's jacket. But not one person actually saw Cody put that in his jacket. Okay? No camera footage or anything like that. Saw Cody put it in his jacket, walk away, or anything like that. So it's extremely flimsy, and anyone could have put it there. But for some odd reason, they decided to arrest Cody because it was found in his jacket. Mm. Another thing I used to sit there and say for a while, and why it applies so much to soap opera and just in stories in general. Common sense, no, plot versus common sense and logic. Once again, I'm glad that Spencer is really seeing Victor's true colors. There's one point where Trina is in a room with Spencer, and Victor comes in. Now, when Victor walked towards the door, he noticed that, the lock wasn't, it wasn't locked or whatever. So he walks in there, he's already pissed off that this dude could just walk in and out whenever he wants. Well, he walks in there, and Trina's under the bed, and Victor pretty much threatens him by saying, hey, listen, I practically hurt my son. So you might want to sit there and tone down that attitude, you know? And so I'm glad that he's sitting there seeing him, his true colors and everything. For the most of the part, he's pretty much he's pretty much keeping Victor distracted because there's one point I think that Trina's purse is like kind of exposed. So, he's bad mouthing him, he's getting all attitude and all in an uproar and getting off in his face and stuff like that, talking about you're afraid of me and this, that, and the third. So they finished their conversation, and long story short, Trina found a way on how to get off the boat. You know, um, and she's like really like just detailed, very, very analytic, very spy like. Oh well, there's guards on this side, there's guards on that side, and they do like shifts and stuff like that, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, damn. I mean, do I mean, do we really need Adam? We got you, like. But she comes up with a plan or whatever to get off the ship. So I don't know if they're gonna get off the ship at some point. I mean, obviously they're gonna get off the ship, maybe, but like she has a plan. Meanwhile, Laura's they're talking about her time with Felicia, about when she was, dealing with the Cassidines and stuff like that, and now that it's a ship, Laura figures out, and it was some nice flashback scenes too, which I gotta sit there and maybe go back and try to watch some more stuff of Laura when she was going through her adventures with Luke, but she pretty much kind of deduced that most likely they're going to be in Venezuela, given that Victor will probably have the most advantage over there and everything like that. So she pretty much kind of solved the case in a lot of ways. based off her experience. And you know what? Normally, something like that, when you just haven't that much of a good plan that just comes out of nowhere, I would sit there and be like, shame on you writers. But because Laura has experience dealing with the Cassadines, she knew most likely about the different areas, most likely where Victor would go. So, um, this, honestly, to tell you the truth, this seems like the most exciting part about the storyline so far. And of course, you got Dex and Michael setting up Sonny and stuff like that. So you do have some good stories. That's the thing. I know this was one person, which I'm not going to sit there and say names, but this one person, and you know who you are, has said that I don't sit there and say anything nice about GH. There's the story so far. These different stories are definitely interesting. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Spencer. Trina's whatever, but they're giving them good story, and I'm definitely interested to sit there and see where it's going. Of course, you got the Sonny and Michael and Dex and Joss and everything like that. They got some good stuff. I think what it comes down to mostly sometimes is the execution with certain episodes. Like, to be honest, did you really care about the Michael and Willow stuff with Brooklyn and Sasha? Eh. Carly sitting there talking to Joss about Trina was like, whatever. And I know a lot of times these episodes, unfortunately, aren't always going to be bangers and stuff. But, I'll tell you the truth. I could probably just kind of go on and on and on and on and on, but there's potential. It's just sometimes I feel like some of the episodes aren't as strong as they could be. And then after a while, Curtis is sitting there talking to Portia, and long story short, Portia realizes that Trina is probably with Spencer on that boat when they see Dante and Jordan. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't really think of anything else that happened. As always, if I did miss anything, I will be sitting there talking about it tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, during my live stream, as I do every night. Mondays through Fridays for everyone, Saturdays and Sundays for members only. If you're not a member, you want to join, hit the join button in the description box below. We do have a lot of fun, exclusive live streams only. Moist Bone the Tea, we're not there talking about from soaps to pretty much everything and anything in between. Member shoutouts and exclusive members videos. So with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.